It's been a little while since I've been in front of y'all, and when you want to give like a speech at the end of your career, you want to be like calm, cool, collected, and then I get a text message from Jason Kelsey saying like, "Hey man, will you come over and join me at the countdown?" I'm like, "All right." He's like, "I got a dog mask." I'm like, "All right, what are we doing with it?" He's a busy man, so I don't hear back. So we go over there. Fletcher Cox is over there. Great to see Fletch. And before I know it, we're jumping on stage at Xfinity Live wearing two dog masks, ripping them off, cheering up the crowd, throwing dog masks in the crowd, and then running through the crowd. So that was my pregame to get ready for y'all. So that's not what I was expecting before I came in here, but there's a lot of emotions coming into this place. Primetime game, retiring an Eagle. I remember Monday Night Football games and the energy I felt on game day. I always liked taking an afternoon nap, and I'd always be woken up with adrenaline, ready to go because your body's ready, your mind's ready. And today, I had the same thing happen. You know, I wanted to take a nap, I wanted to be fresh, I wanted my mind to be fresh to speak, but the adrenaline started hitting. And I'm not coming back to play. It's not adrenaline to come back and play out of retirement. I'm retiring, but to me, it just showed how much this place means to me and how special it is. And I do have a few words, so before I keep going into Philly, I want to start at the beginning. My journey with football started with my dad, who's sitting right here, put a football in my hands the first day I was born. And then, you know, that love in Texas grows deep. I remember going to Texas Longhorn games as a kid. It's my son, Duke. You know, he always makes things easy. And no, I love being a dad. I'll get into that. It's so special. But growing up, going to the University of Texas games, I'd always envision playing for, you know, at that time, playing for Texas. I'd go in the tunnel at halftime. I'd throw the ball with my dad, and I'd envision I was making those big throws, those big plays. And for all you kids out there, like, go outside, envision, be those big plays. You know, for me, it was Michael Jordan hitting the game winner. For y'all, it's probably like Steph Curry and all the younger athletes, A.J. Brown, you know, making that big catch. Envision that, live that. Growing up in Austin, went to Westlake High School, my love of the game just kept getting energized. I mean, I remember one time when I was a junior looking up at the crowd. I remember seeing my great-grandmother in the stands, and I remember thinking, like, this is so special to play high school ball in Texas. Thank you, God, for letting me play this. And I didn't know what he had in store for me. I started my college career at Michigan State, and, you know, I was only there a year, but the thing that I remember about Michigan State, and I just talked to Coach D a few weeks ago when he congratulated me on my retirement, was that's where I really gave my life to Christ. There were so many trials and tribulations that went into that year. Loved my teammates, but I realized as a young man, like, I was brought to my knees. The good Lord made me realize, like, I needed something more than myself. I needed something more than football. And that's where I submitted to him and gave my life to Christ and really started reading the Bible. I was only there a year, and then I went to Arizona. I went to the desert. Ironically, Arizona was my favorite basketball team growing up. I did not know they had a football program, but they had a great basketball team. So it was fun to be a part of helping the football program grow to where they, you know, beat OU last year in the bowl game. I mean, that's pretty big, beating the Sooners, and us alumni are super proud. There were two specific moments at Arizona that really helped shape me. You know, there's a lot of people, but my strength coach, Coach Ed, Corey Edmond, pushed us so hard. He was a great example of a guy who lived for Christ, but was so tough, so ferocious, and believed in us more than we believed ourselves. He had Bible study every Thursday, and, you know, obviously my faith grew, but then also my love for pepperoni pizza, ranch dressing, and Texas Pete hot sauce. So if you've never had that combination, you have to try it. The other one was, it showed me the importance of a great coach. Coaches are some of the most important people in one's life. And my quarterback coach, Frank Selfo, is my junior year. We were playing like number 9 Iowa. We were up, and I remember we have a 4-minute drive to finish the game. We were air raid system, so I'm throwing the ball. And I remember a DN drops. I throw it to underneath right. Drops, picks it, pick 6. They're up. I'm sort of used to getting chewed out in those situations like most players do. I remember going to the sideline, picking up the phone, just waiting to get reamed. There's still like a minute and something left in the game, and I hear it chewing on the other line. I'm like, Coach, like, what are you doing? He's like, man, I'm just eating a hot dog, drinking a Coke. I'm ready for you to put on a show. I'll see you after you win this game. Go have some fun. I'll see you in a few minutes. That was it. The phone dropped, And from someone who maybe was used to getting chewed out and it was tough, like the sense of peace I had at that moment was insane. And I remember going out on the field with the guys and we marched 80 yards and we won the game through a game-winning touchdown. And that sort of changed me. It showed me the importance of coaching. That's a little bit about Arizona. Then the NFL. I'm truly grateful for all the organizations I played for. I've been very blessed to play in the NFL for 11 years. I'm grateful for the staff, the cities, the organizations, the players, everything that makes up the NFL. But specifically, like I'm here for a specific reason. That is, I love the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is how I'm blessed to end my career. So first and foremost, I want to thank Mr. Lurie and his family for allowing me to be here. Mr. Lurie is a very unique owner in the NFL. He's someone that's at practice all the time. He's someone who shakes your hands, looks you in the eyes, knows your name. When you're there in the locker room pregame, he shakes your hands. When you win or lose the game, he's in the locker room. That is not normal in the NFL. He wants to win. He loves his city, and it's a really special owner. That's my youngest son, so that's Bodie. So y'all getting to see the whole family. Fortunately, Lily's going to be really well behaved, so we're good. I'd also like to thank Howie Roseman. Howie drafted me. And, I know he's always believed in me. At some point, I was traded away and he was thrown somewhere else in the facility. And then he came back and he brought me back. And I'll always be grateful for Howie for believing in me and bringing me back to Philly and the relationship we have. To Andy Reid, one of the greatest Eagles coaches and arguably one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach in NFL history, not only for drafting me, but for when I lost the love of the game in St. Louis. He gave me an opportunity to come play for the Kansas City Chiefs and just love football again, to where I was in a different place coming back to Philly in 17. I'm going to thank Chip Kelly. And I know y'all are going to be looking at this like, wow, I can't believe he's thanking Chip Kelly. Well, 2013 was some of the most fun football I've ever played. 2014 was a different year. I got injured. We went 10-6. I was excited to come back in 2015. I learned a lot in 2014, and I got that call from Chip where he traded me to St. Louis. Arguably one of the toughest parts of my career. Always wanted to be an Eagle, and that was my first taste of the NFL. But through that year in St. Louis, it was challenging. I lost the love of the game. I had to go through different things, but through that, I grew in my faith, I grew as a person, and in turn was able to come through those dark moments to be a better player, better person, and stronger when I came back to Philly. I'm a firm believer, without those moments in St. Louis that Chip trading me away happened, I would not have been able to do what we did in 17. I would not have been able to step in with my heart and play the game that I did with my teammates. So I'm super grateful for that moment in time. And ultimately, I got to thank Coach Peterson and the entire Eagles staff in my tenure here. They were truly incredible. Doug himself, Doug drafted me as my quarterback coach. He came to Westlake High School and worked me out. I'll never forget walking in the parking lot, and I see Doug sitting in his car, and I knock on the window and hey, I'm Nick Foles. You're here to work me out. So, all right. Y'all know Doug. He's chill. And we go to the field and we're throwing. It's a cold day in Austin. It's raining, a little sleet. And I remember he goes, I'm from an air raid system. He goes, hey, I want you to do a 7-step drop off of play action, and we're throwing into the wind. He made sure I did that. Is I want you to throw a divide route. And I'm like, Coach, I don't even know what a divide route is. It eventually became my favorite route with Deshaun Jackson, but what is this? And he went 65 yards down the field in the wind, in the rain. He's like, hey, I want you to drop 7. I want you to throw it to me. And I remember I dropped back, I threw it, and if you throw into the wind with any kind of wobble, that ball gets caught. The ball got caught and dropped 10 yards short, and I remember thinking oh, I'm done. It's over. And he goes, hey, one more time. One more time. I did it. I cut the wind, perfect spiral, right over his shoulder, perfect. 60, 65 yards in the air. And a couple of days later, I got a call from the Philadelphia Eagles saying they wanted to bring me up here on a trip, and then ultimately drafting me. I have to believe that moment right there with Doug, playing for Doug, with him, my quarterback coach, me coming back as a quarterback in 2017 and 18, culminated in me going over to him in the Super Bowl on 4th and 1 on timeout and asking, hey, you want Philly, Philly. To me, that culmination of life, that culmination of events, all the way back to Westlake High School, led Doug to a pause and said, yeah, let's do it. And when I've looked back at my career at that moment, it just shows you the relationships you make and how you do it and as you go along the journey are so special. And that's why that play to me is always so special. I know it's special to the city. I know it's special to the Eagles. But that moment with Doug's truly amazing. To my teammates, Y'all are what makes this game special. The locker room, the bonds, sitting in the locker after a hard practice, after a hard game, maybe a win, and just sharing that brotherhood, especially in Eagles. In Philadelphia in 17, when we were against all odds, my teammates, my brothers in the locker room never doubted me. I know that because I was with them every single day, and they never batted an eye. When everyone else thought we were lost, they never thought we were lost. Fortunately, I had been with them, a lot of them, since 13. And I have to believe 2012, 2013, 2014, those moments also made them believe. And I'm so grateful for them. I could go on and on about all my teammates, but I specifically want to thank the O-line, in that 17 run. We had Jason Peters, who is amazing, as y'all know, Hall of Famer. We had Big V, Wiz, Kels, B. Brooks, Big Lane, and Coach Stout. Star players, receivers, quarterbacks, running backs, they get a lot of credit. In Philadelphia, the heart and soul of our offense was always the O-line. Step in that huddle was such a sense of peace. I mean, those guys were amazing. Y'all don't realize this, but as a quarterback, we'd be in games, and Wiz and Kels are like, it's like a math formula they're figuring out each and every play. And it was just a beautiful work of art. And it's so special, and I'm forever grateful for them. And I just want to thank all you O-linemen out there. Y'all are the true heroes of the offense. Y'all are what gets the job done, so we as quarterbacks trust y'all. Also, I put this note in there. If you O-line ever see this, my favorite play was the QB sneak to call in the huddle. If you want to chime in on social media as why y'all loved me calling QB sneak, chime in on social media so all the media here can understand why that is. It's an inside joke, so hopefully y'all see social media. To the Philadelphia Eagle fans, I wish, looking back, the good Lord had a plan for me not to play my whole career in Philly. I'm very grateful that I got to play here for 5 years, 2 different stints. Y'all are what makes this place so special. Having the facility on South Broad and having y'all outside our practice facility chanting, sometimes I can't even repeat what y'all are chanting, but it made it so interesting. One of my favorite moments is the NFC Championship game when we're about to do our 7-on-7 warm-ups, and y'all were so loud. Y'all were dancing. We were dancing. I had to pause and just watch and take it in and realized how blessed I was to play for a great city, a great organization, and take it all in. And as everyone knows, in the NFC Championship game, the energy in that stadium, there's been nothing like that. I hope tonight it's even more, but that was truly special. To my agents, Athletes First, and Justin Schulman, Austin Lyman, it's been a journey. We've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of ups and downs. We've had a lot of phone calls when vacations have been going on, a lot of twists and turns, but I'm grateful that I've gotten to go through every single step with y'all. To my parents, thank y'all so much for pushing me, for never letting me get complacent. Mom, for showing me Jesus. Dad, for just being such a great example and such a great story in your life and what you do each and every day. One of my favorite moments of my entire career is when we won the Super Bowl and y'all got on the field and I got to go hug my dad from behind. And, as a kid, he pushed me really hard. He believed in me. And he always wanted me to get faster. Little did he know, I didn't get my mom's speed. My grandfather was a 4x100 champion. As y'all know, y'all have covered me. I am not a 4x100 champion. So I went up to my dad, and I remember hugging him and said, 5'140" did just fine. And it was just truly special. So I just love y'all so much, and I'm so grateful for y'all. To my sisters, Lacey and Katie, I know y'all are going to see this. I'm so grateful to have y'all as sisters. I love y'all so much. To my nieces and my nephews who are watching, y'all are the next generation. I'm so grateful to be y'all's uncle. I'm grateful y'all are here. This is y'all's first taste of Philly. This is y'all's first taste of the Link. Y'all aren't ever going to see anything like this in your life, so take it all in. To my in-laws, Dan and Rosina, thank y'all so much. Y'all have been on this journey. I'm one of your kids. I'm so grateful. Through all the twists and turns, y'all been there. It's truly special to have y'all in my life and for y'all to love me the way y'all do, so thank y'all. To my brother-in-laws, Ryan and Evan, I think back to all the memories we have, but there was a day I hadn't thrown a ball in 4 months, and I was going to go play in Kansas City. And I remember calling y'all late at night, and I was like, hey, we need to find a field. And, we were in Newport Beach, California. We need to find a lit field, and we need to go see if I can still throw this thing. And without hesitation, we found a lit field, and y'all were catching balls for me. And like Ryan, you said last night, y'all are pretty darn good athletes. I mean, amazing basketball player, Evan, 5 years in the NFL, two-sport athlete at Stanford. I'm very blessed to have amazing brother-in-laws. Ryan, the fly fishing trip where I found peace, and we came back, and then it was chaos. Evan, the training camp calls every year. I had a brother-in-law who lived it and breathed it, and every year in training camp, there's always that tough moment, and I always called Evan, and we always had great conversations. To my wife and kids, Tori, you've been our rock. You've been my rock forever. I am so, so grateful for you and what you do for me, what you do for our family, for your battle with dysautonomia and how you handle it and how you inspire everyone every single day. Just yesterday, we're walking the streets of Philly, and a young lady stopped us who deals with the same condition you deal with, and she just shared how much you have helped her along the journey. I'm so grateful for getting to go through. You can sit here. Come on. All right, you can say something to say. I'm talking to your mommy. I'm so grateful for getting to go through life with you. All the conversations we had at night throughout the seasons where we were there for each other. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited to, be your husband, to be the dad to the kids, and thank you so much for being you. I can't imagine life without you, and I'm so grateful for you. Well, Duke, you're a little early.
I'll just take this.
That's okay. Lily, when you were born, you changed my heart forever. You are my first kid, daughter, and I'm so excited to watch you grow. Duke, as y'all see, Duke is a force. He does his thing. He wants the mic. He sees the iPad. But Duke's a really special kid. He's so smart, and I'm so excited to be his dad. We're not going to text messages right now. Now you're just messing up the flow, but I guess that works, huh? And then Bodie, Bodie's right there. He's the youngest, but I'll tell you what, you're tough. I'm so grateful to be your daddy. I'm so grateful to watch you grow. And then we also, if any of y'all have watched me, we also have a dog named Henry, who we actually got after the Redskin game in 14 the next day. So I have to mention Henry. He's with Aunt Tina, but Henry's the centerpiece of the family, our dog, 10 years old. So all you dogs, if you're not a dog lover, you probably think it's weird, but if you don't love dogs, you're weird. So I don't get it. And then in closing, football's been a huge part of my life. My faith in Christ has been the most important thing, and the relationships I've made along the way have been the most special thing. Some of my very, very best friends are on teams I played with in the NFL, and I'm so grateful for that. And I will forever be grateful for the memories I've had. And I actually did have one more thing for you, Philly media. I was just thinking about my time with y'all and how easy y'all are and how easy the questions are and how y'all never think about asking a weird question or a tough question. So with that being said, in my conclusion, now y'all get to ask me questions once more. So thank y'all.
What would you like your legacy to be?
You know what? When I think back about my career, like I said, I think about the guys, the locker room. I just want my legacy to be that I help my teammates be better, not only players, but as people. It wasn't just about the game. It was about the relationships. I mean, some of my favorite times, especially as I was getting older in my career, was to help young players because it's a hard game. There's a lot that goes on, and you're also living life. So I love listening to what was going on in their life and then also giving them wisdom to help them along the journey of their life as they grew in the NFL and then apart from the NFL. So I just want my legacy to be a player that helped his teammates be better people and better players.
I'm sure you've been asked this a lot, but why did it work here versus the other stops that you've been at?
Tori, you want to grab him real quick? Hey, buddy. Let me finish this. I love you. You're so good. You're so good. Yeah. You got mama speed. You know what? Like I said, I've been very blessed. There was just something about wearing midnight green. I don't know. I always felt something different in the city, in the stadium. And obviously it takes so many pieces in different organizations. Like I shared about Mr. Lurie, I mean, he's a very unique owner. I'm grateful for all the owners I played for, but what Mr. Lurie did and how he handles himself is very unique. How he is very unique. He's very aggressive. He wants the players. He goes after the players, and they build this team of culture that is truly special in Philly. So I can't really answer that other than say, like, I was just meant to play here, and I'm so grateful to have been a part of these teams, and I'm grateful to be a part of the history here. It's made me a better person playing here. But once again, I wouldn't be who I am today without those other stops. So each stop had its own purpose. And its own unique story. And throughout the rest of my life, I'll have an opportunity to reflect on all of them, and I'm grateful for all of them.
Nick's still the only quarterback that's won a Super Bowl for Philadelphia. How often do you reflect back on that game and that day and everything that was involved with that moment?
Yes, that's a great question. I was just asked the other day how often, along the same lines, how often do I think about being like the Super Bowl MVP? And I'm like, whenever that's brought up, I just think about the people. Like, even when I was contemplating over through the last year, if this was the right decision to finish playing, the one stop was always Philly. But what I had to remind myself, that was a place of history. The team has changed. The coaches have changed. Still some of the same players, but I'm just grateful to have that, time. So, yeah.
How would you describe your relationship with Carson, and how has that evolved over the years?
Yeah. Carson and I have a great relationship. Just the other day, we were texting. I started a company with Pat O'Donnell called Dad Season, and, we sent some hats to all the dads in several locker rooms that we knew. Carson was who I sent to in Kansas City, and he sent me a picture back wearing the hat, and, I was super grateful for that. So Carson and I get along great, and I'm super happy. I think he's in an awesome spot in Kansas City with Andy Reid and that staff. I know that they're fortunate to have him because I still believe that he's a great quarterback. He's a great player. And I know, for one, y'all covered Andy for a long time. He develops great cultures. What he's done in Kansas City is truly special. So it'll be awesome for Carson to be there, and he'll help the team.
Hey, Nick, we happen to be talking to Scout this week. And he mentioned every once in a while when he gets to the building, he'll pass your picture with the trophy and text you the picture. Curious, how many times does he do that?
Oh, man, he does that every so often for sure, and it'll be at a random time, and it'll be very early in the morning. And I keep wondering, I guess maybe he doesn't know how to use his phone or something, but Stout's one of my favorite coaches of all time. Those blitz meetings and being with him on the sidelines were always fun. He's one of the greatest O-line coaches in the history of the game, and I always enjoy getting those pictures. I imagine if he gets feedback from this press conference from that question, I'm going to get one on Tuesday morning. So.
Jordan Mailata told a story the other day, and you only played with him for 1 year.
Yeah.
He said, you were on the scout team. He's blocking. He's trying to figure football out. He said he's terrible, as that was his word. And you're back there, and if it was a real game, you'd be sacked 3 times.
Oh, yeah, I'd be
Instead
done.
of being mad at him, you were very understanding. And it speaks to me that there's an impact long term. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I think, too, context is everything. Jordan was learning the game of football. And I understood that. I wanted to help him along that journey because you saw his personality. And as y'all talked to Jordan, he's maybe one of the nicest human beings on the face of the earth, but he's also one of the best at what he does. So you knew from his talent that he was going to be fantastic. It just was going to take time. He had a late start. So I didn't want – the worst thing that can happen to an athlete is get discouraged. And as a quarterback, you never want to discourage your teammates. You want to uplift them. So I'm grateful that I just got to be a small percentage of helping Jordan be who he is, and he's just getting better each and every day.
When you were traded in 2019, it seemed overwhelmingly most people just felt that Carson deserved to stay for you to go. But there were reports of people though who felt that you should be able to do the job based upon how you performed. There's probably been a little bit of revisionist history on that too. More people saying that they thought you should have stayed. But at the time, did you think in your heart that maybe you deserved a chance to remain the starter?
Once again, context is everything. The context of that situation is, unfortunately, Carson had several unfortunate injuries, and, he was playing some great ball. And, when I stepped in, I was able to play great ball with my teammates. We had a great team both years. And I knew at the end of that, talking to Howie, that the decision to go with Carson, I understood it. There's not a moment I didn't oh, why? No, I understood it. I understand the game. Carson's a young player and how he was playing, and, his ceiling is so high. There was never that doubt. Yes, when you look back, would I have loved to play my entire career here? Absolutely. I used to dream wearing midnight green when I wasn't here, but I understood that that was the right decision at the right time with the context. But I'm also grateful that I got to go to those different spots. I got to meet so many people. So the history is the history, and you can't go back and change it. But I understood why they made the decision. I was okay with it.
In these past few years, what consideration did you place on? In these past few years, what consideration did you place on coming back a third time?
You know what? We had our third kid in Indy, and when I signed with Indy, I talked to Tori, and I was like, "This will be our last stop." You have kids, you move around a lot, you see different things, you have some, there's some different cultures, there's some tough times, and I knew that Indy would be my last stop with Frank, and I was good with that. I was, at some point you have to figure out when that is. And, that's where our last child was born. Our youngest child, Bodie, was born. And, I know talking to Howie, I would have loved to have, but at that time, I believe what football's got to be played with your heart. And I love the game of football with my heart. But as a player at that time, it would be a disservice to play the game without the heart to play it.
Take us back to Super Bowl 50. How you doing, Nick?
What's up, son?
How are you? Take us back to Super Bowl 52, to the moment the timeout is called.
Yeah.
You go to the sideline. Are you thinking? What are you thinking there? And then when you say Philly, Philly to Doug, and you go back out onto the field, what are you thinking as you go to your teammates on the field?
Yeah, I mean, we had I was talking to Chris Long about this. We had this play called speed option called. I don't know, Brent, you remember that? We called speed option. And I think all of us were like, oh, no. So thank goodness we called a timeout. And I think that the play just didn't look good all week, and I love Doug and I love our coaches, but I'm still shocked. The last time I ran that play well was at Westlake High School, so it probably wasn't going to work. I don't know if I was going to execute well, but I think that triggered something inside me. It was like, man, the Philly special would be pretty good right here. Like, it'll work. So I ran over there and asked for the Philly. Doug said, yeah, let's do it. And the first thought was when I was running back to the huddle is do not smile. Do not smile. Just act like serious, because defensive players are watching the quarterback run from the side, and I'm smiling like they're gonna think something's up. So, and I also knew I had to put on an act. I had to go up there, hey, kill, Lane, and that's pretty silly doing all that stuff. Like, you have to act serious, like it's like a real audible. But yeah, it was just I knew it was gonna work. I knew we were ready for it. I knew Trey was gonna throw. Thank goodness Trey threw an amazing ball. Like, he does not get enough credit. That ball was perfect. The only person who could have messed that up was me. So thank goodness I didn't mess it up. But yeah, it was really that. And then in the moment, it was 6 points. We needed 6. We got 6, and the game went on. And then the play became what it is now. But in my mind at that moment, I've had moments in my career where I've ran to the sideline, I've asked for plays, because as a quarterback, there's just plays that you feel like will work. And I'm just grateful, like I said earlier, that Doug and I had the relationship where he trusted me enough. I need to get all the information of what was going on in the headset. I think it was probably pretty quiet, because that's not exactly when we wanted to call the play, but super glad he said yes, and super glad we ran it.
And the year you considered walking away, what did Andy Reid say to you to convince you to want to come back?
You know what? I think I took a little time away, went on a little camping, fly fishing trip with Rye. Came back, was still not feeling it. My wife, Tori, wrote me a 4-page letter that I still keep in one of my Bibles at her house to this day. There's a reason I keep it. It was one of the most amazing, if not the most amazing letter ever written. So my heart was going through a lot, and wasn't really so much of what Andy said as so much as what my wife said and what my prayer to God was. And I couldn't decide, and I was going through so much, and I just asked God, what do I do? And I remember realizing that I was in a paralyzed state where I wasn't leaving the game and I wasn't going towards the game. And I remember just hearing a small thing in my stomach saying, what are you most afraid of? And I was most afraid to go back and play because of what I experienced in St. Louis. I was afraid. But I knew from my faith and reading the Word and going through life that, well, God will be with me on my walk if I leave the game or if I go back to the game. But the thing I'm most afraid of, I probably should go at. So then I called Andy, because he had reached out to me before, a week before, and I was like, hey, if you'll still have me, I think there's still something inside me. There's still something, and I think if anywhere I can get it out, it'll be with you in Kansas City. And we worked it out. Justin, you found a way to make it happen, and I ended up in Kansas City, and it was the 4th day of training camp where I started loving the game again, and I broke down in tears in the film room and realized I was excited to go to practice. And that's why I'm so grateful for Andy. I'm so grateful for my time in Kansas City, and yeah.
You just alluded to that wasn't the time where the Philly was supposed to be running. What was the plan going in when you guys thought you might be running that play?
Yeah, I think if y'all know anything, we were actually supposed to run it against the Vikings in the NFC Championship game, but I got my ribs hit on an RPO to Alshon, and then I remember telling Doug, like, we'll just run Mario and I'll throw a touchdown to Alshon. I can't run out on a route right now, and that was the touchdown in the back of the end zone to Alshon. So we were supposed to run it second half to go up 2 scores, not first half, 4th and 1 to do what we did. So, but at the end of the day, you have these plans, and most of the time the plans don't work, and you change them. So I'm glad that I ran over there and we did it, and now it's history.
In the lead up to the Super Bowl and the game, you seem to have a sense of peace about yourself.
Say that one more time.
In the lead up to the Super Bowl and in the game, you seem to have a sense of peace about yourself. I'm just curious, like, how you got into that mindset and you reflect on it, kind of where you were.
Yeah, you know, when you have the coaches we had, the support we have in Philadelphia, the players, I realized that I was just a piece of the puzzle. I was just one of 11 out there, and we also got defense and special team and great people. I didn't carry the whole weight. So leading up to the Super Bowl, I kept things simple. You know, Torrey handled everything with travel and family, and I don't even know if I talked to my dad during the 2 weeks. You did. Yeah, so bad son. But I was at peace going into the game. I was just so focused, and I remember just telling God, I was just praying to God and say, you know what? I'm not praying for a win. I'm just praying that I glorify you today. I glorify you with my actions, how I play the game, and I just really want to play without fear. This is a big stage against a big opponent. I just don't want to have fear. I just want to let it all loose, and I don't want to leave anything out there. And it was just such a peaceful game. I was just in the moment. A lot of that has to do with my teammates and coaches is I trusted them. They trusted me. And it's some of the most fun I ever had playing a game. I remember there was a, back shoulder play action, quick one to Nelson on like a slot fade, if y'all remember, on the right side. And I remember like throwing that and walking to the huddle, man, and being like, this is fun. But you can't get too high because there's a lot of game left. But I'm like, this is fun. The game is slow. I see it. I'm reacting. My guys are making plays. Torrey Smith's catching balls off his head. We're converting 4th and 1s, running the Philly special. And I just wasn't making the game too big. I wasn't focused on the clock. I wasn't focused on the score. I was just focused on when Doug called a play, I just wanted to execute the play. You know, there's times where we play the game where it's the first quarter and a team jumps up 14 points and you start pressing. You start throwing balls you shouldn't. You start making decisions you shouldn't. That game, it didn't matter. I was just going to Doug call a play, execute the play. Doug call a play, execute a play. Maybe run over to Doug, call a play, then we run the play. But it just kept it simple. But it was the surrounding, coaches and players that gave me that piece too. So, thank you all. Appreciate it. Good to see y'all.